Alright, this is Andrew with Total Home Inspections. We are doing a sewer scope today, June 20th, 2025. We are here in Kaysville. We're at 1737 Kerrybrook Drive. We have the camera pushed at 130 feet to the city connection. Now we're going to pull it back and record it and see what we find. So you'll notice a little bit of running water. There's a toilet fill valve that looks like it's not turning off, and so even once the tank fills up, it's still losing a little bit of water, and so I think that's what this running water is from. The running water is fine on its own. What you don't want to see is standing water, and we're going to see a fair amount of that with this line, and the standing water indicates that you don't have proper grade. Clean my camera head off a little bit so we can see a little bit more clearly. But it looks like plastic line, looks like PVC. That's similar to what they're using on most new construction. You do want to fix that toilet fill valve, and I have a note about that in the inspection report. And where it's running and not covering my camera head, that's okay. What you don't want to see is it covering the camera head. Seen a tiny bit of buildup on the edge of the line, but really not too bad. Just trying to get that little piece of debris cleaned off the camera head. I pushed through a little bit of debris on the way out, and most of it came off before I started the video, but there's still that little bit right on the center of the lens. So right there, starting to go underwater a little bit. And it looks like you have maybe a little bit of an offset there. So an offset for the pipes have slipped, and you have a little bit of a shoulder on the pipe. Right there, we kind of drop below it. You can see it right there on the screen. That's a spot where waste could collect and create a blockage where it could then back up towards the house. That's a pretty small offset, but they're still never ideal. The more concerning thing is the amount of standing water here. I mean, there it's still flowing. I'm going to check before I go. That seems like more water than just one toilet running. I'll walk through and make sure there's not a second one. You can see a little bit of waste swirling around, but not too bad. That's one of the things that happens when you have bad grade, is waste will get stuck, or grease gets stuck and settles, and it gets real sticky. I think that's part of the waste that I was pushing through was that greasy buildup. And when it gets sticky like that, bigger pieces of waste could get stuck, and that can lead to a backup. And so the only way to permanently fix bad grade is to dig it up and re-slope it. That's very, very difficult, especially here where it's under the basement slab. If the cellars haven't had any backups, that's a good sign, but they can definitely be unpredictable. This is a more shallow belly than many that I've seen. You know, it's just barely covering the camera head, but it's a longer belly than maybe what's typical. The longer the belly, the more concerning and more problematic they can be. Starting to come out of it there. I think we came out of it at about 25 feet. If you go back in the video, you can see on the bottom right hand side the counter of how far out we were. I've forgotten now, but I mean we were several feet out. I mean that was a pretty lengthy amount of standing water. You can hydrojet it. That would help clean the line. kind of a band-aid. You know, it prevents it from backing up because it cleans off all the buildup. But honestly, for how long the flat spot was here, I'm surprised at how little buildup there was, which is a good sign. You want to avoid putting wet wipes down the line. You want to avoid putting excessive amounts of grease down the line. But other than that, you know, you're bound to get some buildup, and hydrojetting can help with that. The other option is to dig it up and reslope it, but I probably wouldn't jump to that until you were having frequent backups. The other thing is you can get home serve sewer protection. They would help clean the line if it does back up. Generally their sewer line protection is foundation out. They have interior drain line coverage, but that only covers 3,500, and that wouldn't go very far if you were opening up the slab to get to the main line. I'm going to end this recording now.